What's going on, guys? It's Victoria and Ian here from the RadioActive podcast. We are back with season 5. This is our very first episode of the season, and we are so stoked to be joined by Joshua Shultz. How are you doing today, Joshua?
Good. I just realized I think one of my photos is right behind you.
Oh, which one? Is it the
Is
one of
that Lonnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took that. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's actually his jacket or his vest right beside it. So,
Oh, no way.
and his
That's so
bass.
cool.
That's his bass
Oh,
too. So, I got the whole
wow.
deal.
Are
Lonnie's
you
my
like
guitar
good friends
teacher.
with?
Yeah, Lonnie's my
Oh,
guitar teacher, so yeah, I kind of know him. But yeah, he was selling the vest, and then he sold his bass. So I'm like, I need to have this. So I play his bass all the time for gigs. So yeah,
that's amazing.
pretty cool deal. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I didn't know that
This
was
is
your
why we
photo.
hit
That's amazing.
record.
Mhm.
It
This right here.
what?
This is why we hit record.
Yeah, this is why we hit record. Very true.
To
Very true.
capture
You gotta capture all the good stuff.
You
Uh,
might think I'm a psychopath, Josh, but I tell you what, dude, I swear we miss so many like golden opportunities
we do.
when we should have hit the record button. Like, who was it that we did an interview with where we had like top
Heather.
tier
It
topic?
was it was with
Heather,
Heather.
yeah,
We
yeah,
talked
yeah.
for like 20 minutes before we actually started the interview. I don't know if you're familiar with Heather Richardson. She does like merch management for I can't remember what band she's working with. We Came as Romans, uh kind of bands
Wage
like that.
War.
Was it Wage War? Yeah, she does some merch stuff for bands like that.
I I will admit I'm very dumb with like recent bands. I still listen to like 90s mainly, and like 60s and 70s. So like I learned mainly about bands of today because I work with them.
Yeah.
Like, um, this was given to me by the 1975's manager after I shot them. And I didn't know who the 1975 were. I just remember thinking like that's a dumb name. And then I met them and they were the nicest, coolest guys. And we nerded out about movies. And then they invited me to their show. So I went and saw them. And then I became like a massive fan and like bought their vinyls and was like super into them. And right before they really blew up, I pitched them a music video and they said yes. And we were about to do it. And I got a really, really bad flu. And when I was better, they were out of America. And anyway, they ended up getting another director. But to this day, I regret that. But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like there's so many good new bands, and I feel like I cannot keep track of them all. It's
Yeah.
insane.
They always have like some new. There's this great Family Guy episode where like it's the Kids' Choice Awards, and every single like new band they say is like some made up thing, and that's what it sounds like to me. Like this year it's blah 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 blah, and I'm like, no, it's 9-32.
Dude,
Um,
brownie points. Brownie
yeah,
points.
Yeah, you love
Big
Family
uh,
Guy,
family
don't you?
guy. Big
yeah.
family guy right here.
Every night I fall asleep to either Family Guy or American Dad.
Yep.
It just like puts me to
Yep.
sleep. So, and it's embarrassing the amount of sets I've been on where I quote Family Guy, and everybody looks at me like I'm a an idiot.
Dude, okay, so dig this, right? And you'll have to forgive me. My throat's been fucking with me all day, but dude, so one of my best friends who just so happens to be my cousin, right? We quote Family Guy religiously. And I was with him and my uncle Mark and my aunt Marcia and my cousin Amanda, his sister. We were moving um my buddy, my cousin, we were moving him back home from Missouri S&T where he went to college. And we got on the topic of quoting movies and Family Guy because we quote Family Guy all the freaking time. And I can't remember who said it. It was either my cousin or my uncle. They said, if you quote movies and TV shows often, there's a chance you may be on the autism spectrum. And I stopped and I go, That makes so much sense because I myself actually am on the spectrum to a certain degree. And yeah, I'm a big movie guy. I get it from my dad. And I was like, huh, that
Well, makes
kind of
sense.
checked out.
I'm a director, so I'm a movie nerd. Uh, and so if I like get to work with people that are also movie nerds, yeah, Psycho. My neighbor when I was in LA, her uncle made the all of the posters and artwork for Psycho. So he was like a famous designer. I think he was Italian or something. But like you never know. You'll just meet somebody and they're like, "Oh, Psycho, blah 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 blah." Um, but yeah, Psycho's great. Uh, there's a couple. I'm writing a horror film right now, so I've been watching a lot of horror films. I'm actually going to be directing a horror short film in a couple months with some pretty big musicians who are going to act in it. But there's a couple movies that came out recently that were really good. So my two favorite horror films that came out recently are Weapons. Have you seen that?
Oh,
And
dude.
so good.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Also, Smile 2, I think, is one of the best horror films to come out in a
Yes.
long time. Way better
Holy
than
shit.
Smile 1.
Brother. Let me tell you something. 2024 was an impeccable fucking year for horror movies, right? And I tell you what, it is not often where the sequel, especially to a horror movie, transcends the first movie. And I
Yeah.
live by this. I will die on this hill. The Conjuring, Insidious, and Smile, all three, the sequels are better. The second movie, better.
Well, Conjuring 2 is way better than any other Conjuring.
Yes.
Also, a perfect movie.
Hmm.
Um, Insidious, I go back and forth because there's a lot of things of Insidious that bother me, but for dumb reasons, like lens choices and color choices, which is annoying for me as a photographer and a director. Like sometimes I can like let my mind go and just enjoy. But with that, I'm like, I know what your budget was. Why is the color shit in this shot? Like you could afford a great colorist. To me, it just feels lazy. It's like when I watch a $300 million Marvel movie and there's a scene that's really badly edited, and I'm like, I could edit this better. Why? Like, what's going on? Where's all the money going? Um, but yeah, so the Insidious I go back and forth on, which I just rewatched. Conjuring 1 and 2 is amazing. Did they make a three Conjuring?
They made four.
Because I think 3 and 4 were shit, but I think James
Yeah.
Wan didn't direct them. So sometimes when he like produces it and somebody else directs it, it's shit.
Oh,
But
fuck. And The Nun 2 was actually, dude, that movie freaked me out low key. The Nun 2, not the first one, but The Nun 2.
okay, I need to watch The
Wow.
Nun 2 because I just saw that pop up on my HBO, and The Nun 1 was okay, but if two's better, I'll watch it.
I tell you what, I say The Nun, the first one isn't that good, but that here, and this is what I like about Insidious in particular too. There's something to be said about how positively spellbinding the ambiance and the setting and the characters and the story for both Insidious Chapter 2 and The Nun 2. It's so captivating, especially in Insidious Chapter 2, because it has one of my favorite villains of all time, Parker Crane's mother. She is just wicked as can be in that movie. Even though she doesn't have a lot of screen time, you could just feel the audience get uncomfortable when she comes onto the screen.
I love
And
that.
dude, I remember being 14 going to see a prior screening, right? Where you cheat and you get to see an early screening of the movie.
Yeah.
I was like 14 with my dad and I was just punching my dad. I'm like, Dad, I can't wait for this. This is huge. And I kept squealing in my chair. I'm like, this is wow.
Oh my God, it's making me realize how old I am. Because when I was a kid in LA, they would have these test screenings that we'd go to. And so the last test screening I saw was for like a Tim Allen movie that was made in like the 90s. And be interesting. I wonder if they do that out here. I'm in Florida, but I grew up in LA. I've only been in Florida for a couple of years. But I also love horror films where the production design's great and the cinematography and the color and the music and the score. Like if everything comes together and the story's amazing, like Weapons to me was a perfect movie. And it had comedy. It took a unique approach to things. It was a great time. And then Smile too. Like I think because I've had to watch so many scary movies, I'm numb to them. But Smile 2 is the only one that continuously terrifies me every time I watch it. Like it's so horrific that I feel like I'm going through the trauma. I'm trying to think of it. I think there was a Omens movie that came out last year that was really good too. The First Omen.
First Omen. That was a good one
Yeah.
too.
Production design was amazing, and the actress is great because she's only done that, and then she did that like Apple TV show where she moves in with the family. She brings the baby back to life.
Is that Sydney
Uh,
Sweeney?
no, that's
It's not.
no, that's she did a movie similar to The First Omens around that time. And that one was called Immaculate.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the one. You're so
yeah,
right. Yep, yep, yep.
but anyway, yeah, I'm also writing a romantic movie, so it's weird like writing a scene about like trauma and horror and death, and then switching to like two people looking at each other and like falling in love and sweeping landscapes. But it's kind of nice because it cleans your palette. It's like one dark world, and then I can go into like, you know, although now that I think about it, my love story's it's very dark. But it's a great story. Also, a short film I'm going to be doing. So it's those two short films, and then I'm going to do my first movie after that, which is a horror film. But anyway, that's another thing. But you guys had questions? I realize I'm just ranting.
Oh, talking. Actually,
No,
I have a
dude, this
question
is
about these
sweet.
movies that you say you're writing. So when you're writing them, kind of, I assume you go back and watch some other movies to pull inspiration from, or just see how they did it. Kind of, what elements do you look for to put into your work?
Um, Things that make me feel. So a lot of my upset with movies of today is most of them are I feel nothing because they're so formulaic. There's no voice or point of view. Um, for example, AI can create structures and think in zeros and ones, but it doesn't have a point of view. There's no spiritual, like conscious point of view and voice. And so, like Weapons to me had a point of view, but the director's best friend died. And so he wrote all of the characters as a version of himself going through that trauma. Um, and if you lose somebody and go through trauma, it is very horrific. Um, So in photography and directing, there's this sort of importance and trap in the sense of like when you get into photography and directing, it's very scientific. You got to learn about lenses and cameras and lights and color and sound and blah and blah and blah. And you can get pretty wrapped up into that. But all of that is only supposed to serve the more important thing, which is the artist. So sometimes the director will be like, look at my cool shot, and look at this cool shot, and look at this beautiful shot, and look how long this take was, and look how crazy this stunt was. But like none of that matters if it doesn't serve the story. So if I go and watch a movie that makes me get sucked into the story, I forget about everything else and I go on this ride and I feel emotions, then that catches my attention. So sometimes when I'm writing, I won't necessarily watch movies. Like I'll kind of base it off real things that I've gone through to a certain extent, even if it's wildly altered. Um, or if a movie really impresses me, then I'll like see how they shot the scene. Like, what was the camera angle? What color did they use in the scene? What was the camera movement? What kind of sound design? Um, but I always am trying, and I'm not perfect. I'm new to narrative directing. I've only directed two short films, but like 100 music videos. Um, so I'm sort of trying now. Like in my first two short films, I really went into the technical, like how do I make a movie quality short film, which I feel like I figured out. So now I'm backing off and going more into like, what's the story? What's the communication I'm trying to say? What's my point of view? And then mixing in the like even the next two short films, I'm not as concerned about them being movie quality. Like I want to hit a quality, but I'm more concerned about what's the story and how great is the acting. How can I try to make this as truthful and authentic as possible?
I love how you keep circling back to weapons because not a lot of people know this, but my generation, me and Victoria aren't that far apart in age. So and I don't know if Victoria knows who these people are, but the director and the writer, Zach Krieger, he was in a comedy skit group with his best friend. And they were super popular when I was growing up and when Victoria was growing up. But yeah, no, they were so funny. Every dude in that group was just gifted in a way that's indescribable. They were so goofy and fun. And when Trevor Moore died, my heart sank because that was like,
Yeah.
dude, I grew up watching that guy. He was so funny. And I had no
And
idea.
that comedy is really hard too. So being
Yeah.
talented in that, yeah,
Oh yeah.
that stuff. But yeah, there's apparently like in Weapons, the scene where there's all the hot dogs. Apparently that's reference to one of their skits. So like if you've watched their skits, you'll see little Easter eggs throughout the movie, which I didn't know. I watched like a behind the scenes and um I more like my obsession is art. So if I see an artist really care and work really hard to do a good job, um I respect that. Like one thing I see happen sometimes is sometimes people will try to make art and they're just trying to how do I say this? Instead of like making art for them and being true to their voice and their integrity, they're just trying to make art that they think other people will like. And I think that rarely works. Sometimes that might work, but more often, for me at least, like if I make art that I love and is true to myself, then that tends to resonate more with people. Um, I remember when I first got into photography, I started like that. Was obsessed and was making shit that I liked, and it was doing great. And then I started like getting attention, and I was like, oh no, I better make art that people like. So then I tried to like make art that I thought other people would like, and it was shit.
Yeah.
And so
That's
then I
like
had to go back and relearn.
it's actually funny we
Yeah.
talk about this because Ian and I talk about this quite often on the show with bands. I know we've talked about it with Beartooth. We've talked about it with them and Lil Star. We talked about too. Like they kind of just
Oh,
stick
you
to.
guys know Lilith?
Yeah, I've interviewed her a couple times.
Yeah.
Ian hasn't,
That's my
but
sister.
yeah, I've interviewed her a couple
She was
times.
just here
Whoa, 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 whoa,
a
whoa,
couple
whoa,
days
whoa, whoa,
ago.
whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. What?
Yeah, she was sitting
That's
right
your
here.
sister?
Huh? Oh no
That's
no
your
no no
sister?
no! Like
Like
not
homie,
really.
like brother, like not
We're
actual.
like
Oh,
family. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see. I see.
yeah,
Okay, full circle. Well,
yeah.
because
I
I
actually
thought,
met her before Andy, uh, like 14 years ago or something, like right after The Voice. Actually, I was doing photography and I wanted to direct a music video, but I never did. And I remember watching The Voice and I was like, I want to do a music video for that person. And a week later, someone had given her my number and she texted me, I'm a fan. I would love to do a music video with you. So my first music video I ever did was for her. And when I first met Andy, I thought he hated me, but he's just like quiet and shy. And then we got to know each other, and then we became really good friends. So much so that I was always hanging out with him and not Juliet. And so then eventually she's like, "What about me?" And anyway, and then we all then I moved to Florida, and I didn't know they moved to Florida, and I was at Whole Foods and I ran into them, and I was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" And it turned out they lived like 10 minutes from me. Um, so then we started working together again, and I did a music video for Black Veil Brides out here called My Friends, and then I'd spent like three 4 weeks with Black Veil Brides while they were recording their new album, so I got to like be there every day and see all the process. And I got to scream on some of the songs, which was
Oh,
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Uh, so I get to be on the Black Veil album anyway. And then I filmed the whole making of the album. And anyway, and then Juliet and I started doing some stuff. So we did a video called Popsicle, which you guys might have seen on her Instagram.
Yep. Yeah, we did a full episode reviewing Popsicle actually. So
Oh, no way.
yeah.
And
Okay.
she
Yeah,
saw it.
what's
Yeah,
that?
he saw it. She
She saw it.
collaborated with that post too, I believe. So that's pretty
It's
cool.
huge.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she's I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of celebrities, and by far Andy and Juliet are the sweetest, most loyal, kindest, most amazing humans. Like we always have a blast. They always take care of me, like pay me, credit me, find me work. I like we go above and beyond for each other, so they're family.
Hmm.
And so like the funny thing is, I wasn't even a Black Veil fan until Andy. I got to experience Andy, and I was like, this guy is such a sweet, great person. And then this new Black Veil album is what made me a fan. So I haven't heard a lot of their past stuff because again, I listen to like 90s grunge
Hmm.
and early 2000s hard rock. Um, but then this new album, I'm like, I have Hallelujah on my workout playlist now. I work out to it every day. It's so epic. And then I'm gonna get to see it live at Warped Tour in November.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
guys gonna go?
Oh no, I'm up
I
in
can't.
Canada, so I will not be attending, but
What part of Canada?
Saskatchewan.
Ah,
Yep.
my best friend Tyler is from Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Um, or I guess he's from Ottawa and lives in Toronto.
Yep.
Uh, and where are you, Ian?
Me, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, but I've been hemorrhaging money this year, so I need to stop. I need
Well, I
to
mean,
chill
you
out.
you did come to visit me for a week, so that was kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
that was like probably $1,100. So worth it though. I
Yeah,
mean, so worth it. It
You
was
had you
so
had the full
unbelievably
Canadian
fun.
experience. Like it was just
that's
Yeah, it was
cheap.
tight. It
That's
was
cheap.
tight.
I just went to LA for 2 weeks. I had to drive to LA, get all my stuff out of storage, drive back. I just moved into my apartment like a month ago. Um, and my car broke down. So by the time I got back, it cost me $15,000.
oh
Jesus.
So 1,100 bucks, not bad.
No,
not
no.
looking too bad now, Ian.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to
And-
save up for a house or a condo or something, but like there's a lot of factors that go into that. It's just really, really hard to do when you just have bills and you want to entertain yourself. It's hard. It's hard to, put money
Dude,
away.
trust me. I lived in LA. I was one of the more successful music video directors and photographers. I got the vaccine and then I became deathly ill. Took me 2 years to get better, cost me like 130 grand to get better. All money gone. Couldn't work for 2.5 years, so I couldn't make any money. I just started working again mid of last year. So I'm building my whole life back.
Dang.
Um, but when I was in the hospital, there was a bunch of fans that like launched a GoFundMe and they helped raise money for my medical bills. And 5 people that donated to get me better have all died. So I had a point of view of like, no matter how bad it is, somebody's going through something far worse. And if you can breathe and walk, like that's a miracle, um, and you'll get through it. You'll achieve your goal. And uh, I have a feeling like things will get better.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, I don't want to get too dark and deep, but you'll save up for a house.
A lot of that's on me too. Like I gotta cut back some habits. Like I'm canceling subscriptions I don't use anymore and trying to pick up more hours of work. So I mean it's just, it's also on
Same.
me too. It's not just,
I
economy.
just canceled Netflix, Hulu, and then I just canceled Adobe because Adobe went from like when I signed up, it was like 34 a month, and then it went to 54 a month, and then I just looked yesterday, and now it's 70 a month. but their software is not improving. And I'm like, I'm just gonna learn DaVinci because DaVinci Resolve is a free software and better than Adobe. Anyway, so I'm doing the same thing where I'm like, even if I make a bunch of money, like this summer I shot a bunch of videos, I spent 90% of all the money I made to buy new equipment. So I bought like new photography cameras, I got new video cameras, new lights, new lenses. So it's all going to invest into basically building a movie studio. But eventually I need to like start putting that towards a house in the future. But anyway, how
Okay.
long have you guys known each other?
4 years, I think.
Shit.
I think it was
Yeah, four
like
years.
4 years.
4 years.
September of 2022.
Where'd
So
you guys meet?
actually, it's kind of a funny story. So there's kind of a little Black Veil Brides group that we're a part of. So I don't know if you know Ruth and Nicole. They host a podcast called BVB Army Hearts to Hearts. So it's like all
Oh
Black
no,
Veil
that's
Brides.
cool.
So they do that, and then we have a friend. Her name's Casty Downs. There's Bellamy Dawes. There's a bunch of us. So Ian and all them had met up in Cincinnati to go to a Black Veil Bride show, and they met up with Chris Biersack, and they did all this stuff with him. So I kind of knew Cassidy around that time, and then after they did that meetup, I met Ian just online. I reached out to him and was like, "Hey, like, so you guys all met up? Like, I don't really have any like friends that like the music I like, just want to introduce myself kind of thing." And then Ian and I were talking. I had the podcast for years prior to that, but I was looking for a co-host, and Ian jumped right in, and yeah, we've been going for
That's
4 years.
awesome.
Yep.
That's so cool. I love too that there's like Black Veil groups and communities. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the last Black Veil show that you guys saw?
Uh,
Yours was probably more recent than mine. I don't think I've seen him for like 2.5 years. I went to
it was September last year.
yeah, you saw them
September.
recently. I saw
Last year.
them
Yeah.
in 2023 in Edmonton. That was with Dark Divine and VV. So did that show.
Oh, I shot that show, but I shot the one in Florida
Mhm.
because I met VB in the most awkward way because I went backstage and I had to pee really bad and I didn't know who he was. So I walked up and I was like, "Where's the bathroom?" He's like, "I don't know." Like they just got there. And I was like, "Why do you not know? You don't know like any place I go, the first thing I find is where the bathroom is."
Yeah.
But I have to pee a lot. Anyway, and then later after I peed, he was fun and funny and joking. And then I hung out with Andy and Juliet, and then we went out and did the show. And I just for free came down to shoot the show because I wanted to see them live. And then I gave Andy the photos after, and he was like, "These are the greatest concert photos anyone has ever taken of us ever. We need to do more shit together." And I was like, "That's the coolest acknowledgement." I'm realizing too, I think that photo of Lonnie was the second time I ever shot Lonnie with Black Veil Brides. Because the first time was my apartment when Lonnie first joined the band.
Oh, okay.
And my dog, who's right over here, I had just gotten her and she was a little tiny puppy. And so the whole band was playing with her. And then I was shooting them and they went to change outfits. And then Charlie walked over to the white backdrop and shit on it. And so I am cleaning up shit. It smells like poop, and we have to do the next look. And so sometimes I'll see fans wear the photo of the band. In my head, I'm just thinking about the fact that it smelled like my puppy's poop the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, and now she's 130 pounds. Um, anyway, yeah, it's weird sometimes when I look at photos, I will the, not necessarily see the photo, I'll see the memory attached to the photo, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do the same thing quite often. Like behind or in front of me here, I got all my Black Veil Brides pictures from the last show I went to because I did the after show experience with Jake, Jinx, and Cece. So I got like their
Oh,
vests
nice.
like that. That's Jake's vest from that show. So I like yeah, all
I
those
love Jake, by the
pictures.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So all those pictures, it's like just things I remember from it now. So like Jake, I
that's
swear
amazing.
almost passed out because he was kneeling on the ground, and then he stood up and he was like seeing spots, and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm getting old," and like yeah. So that happened.
Uh,
That was pretty funny. So
yeah, my favorite experience about when they were recording this new album was I had to go like spend time with each one of them. And I love how they're all very different characters, you know, like they're such themselves and they're so different from each other, but they like are such a family. So it's interesting, like Jinx has his personality and Jake has his personality and Cece and Andy and Lonnie, but and then together they're so great.
Yes, Ian.
Is CC a party animal?
You know, I haven't experienced him in the party way. We've just like hung out a few times and he's very bubbly and sweet and like
He is so
uh,
funny. When I met him, I was
yeah,
like, this guy is exactly what I thought he was going to be like. He's hilarious.
he almost doesn't seem real. Like he seems like a cartoon character because he's just so like positive and you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then Jake is really brilliant. Like I don't know what I'm allowed to say about anything because the album hasn't come out yet, so I'll just be very vague about that stuff. But yeah, they were all awesome.
Okay. Well, we mentioned, or you had mentioned earlier about working out and listening to Hallelujah and stuff. What are some of your favorite songs that you play while you're working out or you're in the gym?
Um, I go through phases, but I play a lot of early 2000s hard rock, you know, from like Linkin Park to Limp Bizkit, uh Rage Against the Machine, um Tool. Um I think Tool is like one of the greatest bands. Trying to think who else. I've also been getting into because I have to change up the music every once in a while. So recently I've been putting on like early 2000s just popular music. So it'll play like Black Eyed Peas. But like if I'm riding my Harley, I'll only listen to 90s grunge because that like fits the mood for me, you know, like Nirvana and even like Blur, I guess, 90s rock. Um, but it has a lot to do with the tempo. So like if I'm going through a really heavy lift and I need to like pump up and I put on Hallelujah, and it has that like slow build up and then it's like then I'm like, you know, I push through it. I also listen to Popsicle. Um, I think Lilith's album is like the greatest stuff she's ever done.
I am
So
so pumped for that. It's gonna be so good.
yeah.
Like Popsicle is
Uh,
amazing. That was a great one.
I remember when she played me a couple of songs and I got goosebumps and I was like, I would listen to this. Like this is my shit. And she was psyched. I think she has one of the greatest voices. Um, but Apple just released this new thing where they make like a radio station based off the music you listen to. So the last week I've been listening to Joshua Schultz radio station. And the only problem with that is like when I relax, I listen to like old 50s romantic music. So my at the gym it'll be like Raise Against the Machine and then like Sam Cooke or Elle Fitzgerald and I'm like constantly skipping. Let's do
Sweet.
this. I'm gonna go to my workout playlist and I'm just gonna hit shuffle and see what it shows me. Um, what's the difference featuring Eminem, Dr. Dre, Physical Dua Lipa, Nothing Else Matters, Metallica,
Oh, very wide range right there.
Yeah.
uh, Never There, Cake, The Way You Move, Outcast, Roll Out, Ludacris, Higher, Creed, uh,
Anyway.
Linoleum, No Effects. I'm a big punk fan. Cotton Eye Joe, Rednecks.
Oh, dude, that is such a bop. That is
Hot to
such a
Go, Chapel Roan. Um, yeah, I was when I was in high school in the 90s, punk was like my favorite. So I got to direct and shoot with a punk band called MXPX. And I had to fly to Seattle to shoot the video, and I didn't tell them it was my birthday, but somebody told them. So when I arrived there, the band had got me gifts and took me out to dinner. Uh, and then we shot the music video.
that's fire. Josh, for a bit of context here, I had a pretty I'm not going to go into the details of how my year has been thus far, but the start of 2025 was it was agonizing for me. I want to know for you personally, because you speak so beautifully about your friends, especially Andy and Juliet. And I want to know if someone you really, really, truly care about was um, having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and you're the only one with them, right? It's just you and the person kind of shaking and just breaking down. They don't know what to do. How are you going to step up and comfort them and calm them down and bring them back to earth?
I have gone through that situation. Growing up in Los Angeles in the entertainment industry, um, sometimes you're surrounded by some of the most manipulative, evil, insidious people, and those people can tend to create anxiety and panic attacks. Um, and I've only had a panic attack once. So first, the story of helping a friend. I had a friend who was going through quite a bit of hell, and then she had a panic attack, was having trouble breathing, her heart was racing. And this is just my point of view and how I approached it. Doesn't mean it's right. It worked for the situation I was in. But um, sometimes when life feels overwhelming, um, or hard to confront, what's happening is you have a mind, and in life you can have things that happen to you that pull your attention out of your mind. That's called extrovert. So your mind is extroverted, you're seeing a beautiful tree, a beautiful sunset, you're having a great conversation with somebody. One thing that makes art so brilliant is you constantly have to look at things, so you're constantly extroverting out of your mind, which when you're extroverted out of your mind, you become happier. Now, when you're being pushed into your mind, that's called introvert. Um, and so when things are constantly pushing you back into your head and introverting you, it can make you feel less happy. But what's even worse is it allows triggers to happen and cause you to feel pain or insecurities or things from the subconscious that, bring darkness. And sometimes in life, you have people which I like to call introvert experts, where they talk to you and they make you feel shitty. And you don't necessarily know why. Like, it's not something obvious, but you are done hanging out with them and you feel shitty, and you're in your head and you feel bad about yourself, or these triggers happen, or you feel insecure, or whatever the thing is, whatever trauma is related to you. Um, and so a lot of times when someone's going through something tough, I try to do things that pull them out of their head and extrovert them and bring them back into the physical universe. Another reason I like to ride Harleys is when you're on a motorcycle, if you're in your mind, you can die. But if your attention's out and you're looking at the car and the sky and the weather and the road, you're constantly extroverting out of your mind. And so when I come back from a ride, I feel much happier, especially in my work where I'm editing all day and I'm, looking at a screen, or I'm on a phone looking at a screen, and I'm on social media and I'm being introverted and triggered and insecurities. I try to balance life with getting out. Another reason I go to the gym is I'm touching weights. I'm doing things in the fields of the universe that's pulling me out of my head. So I balance life with activities that pull me out of my head, cause me to extrovert, look at trees, plants, weather, stuff like that, go on long walks. Uh, because my job has things that pushes me into my head. So with this girl, she was having a panic attack. So in a very calm voice, I talked to her, said, "Hey, it's going to be okay," which is only a little bit comforting because everyone hears that. And then we started walking, and I was like, "Breathe in, breathe out." And I just kind of helped her timing her breathing, which started calming her heart down. And she was holding my hand. So I was just doing little tactile things or squeezing her hand, and I had her kind of look around. I had her, look at this tree and look at the lake, and just pulling her attention out of her mind. and putting it back into the physical universe. And sometimes I just sat next to her while she was breathing, so I wasn't talking too much. And then when she would start shifting, I would pull her attention back into the universe and she calmed down. So that worked for her. And then I had a situation where I had a panic attack, which I didn't know was a panic attack. But what had happened was after the vaccine, I had gotten blood clots in my leg and my heart and my lungs. And I still had the clots in my lungs. So it was very hard to breathe. And I was on blood thinners, and one of my teeth had cracked open and I was bleeding. So I had to go to emergency dentist. And the receptionist, for some reason, was very mean. Um, and she was being very bitchy with me, which was stressing me out. And I was having trouble breathing. And I had a high risk of having a heart attack because of the clots. It was like 65%. So if the clot, was too big and hit my heart or went to my brain, I would die. So I also had a whole leg brace on because I had knee surgery. So I was not in a great shape. And I started breathing heavy, which was pushing the clots, which was painful, which was causing me to have a panic attack, which my heart was going crazy. And I almost started to pass out. So then I did the same thing. I was sitting in the room. And I just started controlling my breath. And then I would look at the corner of the room and I would try to note something interesting about the corner, like, oh, they use blue paint here. And then I look at this corner, oh, there's a chip on the floor here. And between controlling my breathing and constantly looking in the universe, it calmed me down. My heart rate slowed down. And then I went back to normal. And then I saw the dentist. And then I went home and, recovered. But it was weird because when someone says they have a panic attack, before that, I was like, that's not that big of a deal. And then I had a panic attack and I was like, it sucks.
Hmm.
But the hard thing is like when someone's panicking and you tell them to be calm or calm down, doesn't necessarily work. But if you understand, okay, I need to try to help myself calm down and put my attention out of my mind, you start finding it's like being in a bunch of wind and papers flying everywhere. It's very confusing. You have to find a point, like a stable point, and then all of a sudden you have something to relate the motion to. And by finding that stable point, things start calming down. And so that's a very long answer to what you're saying, but that's essentially kind of how I try to approach it. It's like you all of a sudden you get all this confusion, so you have to give them an anchor and then help them calm down because sometimes the mind will try to convince you everything's overwhelming and terrible, but it's a trick. Um, as a species, we've overcome some of the most horrific things of all time, and you can get through it, even if your mind tries to convince you you can't. Um, and if you're there with a friend, it's just helping them slow down their heart rate, breathe, and reconnect with the physical universe, and not listen to the subconscious part of the mind that tries to lie to you and convince you of all these false things.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it.
Are we ready for the signature radioactive question?
Let's
It's
go.
a good question. It's an amazing question, actually. And Ian was the one that actually came up with this. So good on you, Ian. This is a great question. We've been asking it since he joined the show. So it's
Ah,
been a question for a while here. So we've had a lot of answers. We'll see what you come up with here.
is
Okay.
it what's my favorite color? Just kidding.
It is indeed not. It's better than that. Okay. Bear with me. I gotta paint the picture here. So,
Okay.
Joshua, let's say you are out for a ride on your Harley and it's getting dark out, you're going home, and all of a sudden your motorcycle breaks down. You're on the side of the road. Like I said, it's getting dark. You need to find a place to stay for the night. You look to your right, and there is a haunted house. It's abandoned, it's scary looking, but you have to stay there for the night. You get in, you drop your bags and stuff, you're getting all settled, and oh, a ghost shows up. And it is a dead celebrity that's going to haunt you until dawn. The fun part of this is you get to choose who you want to haunt you all night.
Steve McQueen.
Okay.
Rock on. I love it.
Nice.
Uh, it was between Steve McQueen or Paul Newman, but I'm an old 60s, 70s fan. In fact, Steve McQueen's photographer was a fan of my work, and when he died, I inherited some of his photography stuff. So I just shot part of a music video for an artist on an old VHS camcorder that was Steve McQueen's photographer. So even though they don't care and it doesn't change the quality of the video for me, it's just cool to know like the freaking man, Steve McQueen, you know. Um, anyway, yeah, love me some Steve McQueen. Old 60s, 70s movies, man. There was just like a there was like a coolness back then that like there's this old photo of Robert Redford and Paul Newman playing ping pong, and like I've never seen people look cooler. It was just like that's just how they were, you know what I mean? Um, so sometimes when I have to like style a celebrity for a shoot, I a lot of my inspiration is from like 60s, 70s, sometimes 50s, depending. Even some of my photography style digitally is um old vintage photography techniques. But anyway, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, that's all we got for you today, Joshua. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you.